happens. Nothing gets taken away. Why?
That's the big, I mean, this has been a question that I struggle with, and I've articulated it publicly. And, here's the problem. President Trump knew at an instinctual level, like everything we talked about in the first Trump administration, he understood that the Middle East was quicksand and you can't get sucked into the quicksand. He also understood as a candidate when he was going after, his former adversary, now friend, Marco Rubio, he said Marco Rubio is just going to do what Sheldon Adelson says. He's going to give him all the money. He's going to do what AIPAC says. Trump knew that. He called it out. He understood how these things worked. He also, at the beginning, like I said, at the beginning of this administration, the president was not interested in this conflict of Israel. People will say, no, Joe, you don't know what you're talking about. When I was there and he was getting the briefings, he was not interested in it. He wanted the negotiations to work. He wanted a Nobel Peace Prize. He thought that he could cut a deal. He thought that every other president, and I think there was a lot to back that up, had, not been able to get a good deal with Iran because they were weak or because they were dumb. And he thought that he could get a very good deal with Iran, and he was off to a good start. Something in the spring, late spring, early summer timeframe happened. I don't know what happened. I can't tell you why. 2025. Yeah. I can't tell you why his mentality changed, but it went from like, we're going to create the most space that we can for the negotiations to take their course, and we're not interested in a war. We got other things to do, like everything else he ran on in 2024, to, okay, we're going to support the Israelis and we're going to do Midnight Hammer and we're going to continue to entertain this. I don't know what happened. And so for me, when something like that happens, from an intelligence background, you do have to step back and look at, okay, so what else could be influencing the president? Like if he's the president, he makes the ultimate decision here. Did he just change his mind? And I have a hard time believing that Donald Trump, like you said, the guy who can look at polling and understand which side of the issue to be on. And the president also, too, I think is very good at intuiting vibes, for lack of a better term. He was the first Twitter social media president. I mean, the president can take a large swath of data. And I think this is probably why he was successful in real estate and construction. He can take a large swath of data, and maybe he doesn't know every last little detail of it, but he understands the general theme and he can make a really quick assessment.
Yes. And
for him not to see where this whole thing was going to end up, I just don't buy it. And I know there's people out there who hate Donald Trump and they're like, see, I told you, he's just dumb and he fell for the whole thing. I have a really hard time believing that. And maybe I'm putting too much stock in him. However, I just don't think I don't think he changed his mind. And I don't think he was deceived or tricked. I think there was a fair amount of deception and trickery that was going on there. So he definitely got a lot of bad information. They definitely played to his ego. They definitely told him it was going to be easy. That's all true. But for him to go through with it, ultimately, I do think there's potentially, I don't know 100%, but I think there's potentially other factors there. And so what could those other factors be? What influences a president? Why would a president make decisions that he doesn't agree with?